Alright, hopefully this is live. Let me go to YouTube. Let's get the stream shared and we're going to get started. So we have a bunch of broken MacBooks to fix and I'm excited because we are fixing broken MacBooks. I've had some really good luck and a lot of winning streaks and we're going to keep that winning streak up. So, yes, I know the thumbnail is going to be outdated, but that's okay. We'll update it when the stream gets uploaded. We will see if this little M1 processor can handle the stream without dying. It won't die. It's actually totally fine. The original M1, not the M1 Pro, it just kind of might have been the RAM thing too, but it wouldn't like streams when I'm multitasking, and especially driving two 2K monitors. This is driving the internal display plus a 4K display, and it holds up just fine. So just get this stream shared, and then we're gonna get going. Alright, we're good to go. Let's go see, we're public with no one watching. That's alright. We'll go ahead and get started right now. Alright. There we go. People are coming in now. YouTube finally decided to start sending notifications. Anyway, first one on the list is going to be this A2179 that does not power on. We're going to see what this takes, and I do have to run over to the ultrasonic in a minute, but let's see what this does. I may look a little bit more homeless than usual, and that's because I've been working some crazy hours. So we have 5 volts, and it cycles up to 320 milliamps, cycles back down to 0. Very suspicious, very odd for a short. Maybe fixable. We will see. Anyway, let me go switch my board. This is on the ultrasonic. This was an A2141 that... A2141 that was liquid damaged and kernel panicking, and what we did was, one, replace the SSD 2B5 regulator because it was corroded, replaced a couple capacitors, and then replaced the GPU 1v35 MOSFETs, which were badly corroded, as well as an ultrasonic cleaning. So we have to just let this board dry now, and then once it dries off, we'll be back to dry it off. Actually, before I take another board out, let me dry this off real fast, and then we'll get started on this guy here, just so I can get that assembled. Wouldn't be you if you didn't look homeless. Thank you for the excellent compliment. I appreciate that. That's an excellent compliment. We're just going to dry this board off. Kind of in a hurry, so I'm going to up my temp to 500. And we are just going to dry it off from the other side. We're going to be very careful not to heat up critical components. I just want to evaporate this water. And we're obviously not hot enough to melt solder or anything. We just want to dry this water that's on the board. Then after this, it's going to go in the oven to dry off. but I want to get a majority of the water dry before the oven. How's Carbon Black going? Carbon Black is selling from other vendors. The AlumaChill, the general use paste that I have not yet announced on this channel. So if you do, I should actually probably announce this, but we've released our general purpose paste as well. I need to do a dedicated video on it, but it is a low cost, mid-range performance. And I say mid-range, I don't mean, you know, lousy performance. It's about the same as Arctic Silver 5, and it's only $9.99 for a 10-gram tube, which makes it over or less than half the cost of Arctic Silver 5, and it provides very good performance. It's really all you need in a thermal compound for most use cases, and it works really well. It is a very good price, and we're happy with it, and that's pretty much all we use on outbound devices here now with absolutely no problems. So if you do want to pick up a tube of AlumaChill, head over to www.tcrsthermal.com, and you could purchase AlumaChill as well as Carbon Black, and I believe Mobile Centrics has AlumaChill now, and Injured Gadgets has both Carbon Black and AlumaChill. Now I'm being very careful around our CPU and GPU with the heat. We're just drying the board off. But I think that's good. Yeah, definitely Malls would be happy to ship it to you. Military contract for Carbon Black incoming. I wish. The military doesn't really have any A1932s and A2179s. The AlumaChill, though, I could see that happening, because most, probably really shouldn't talk about this, but the AlumaChill can handle much higher temperatures compared to a lot of other off-the-shelf thermal pastes. And I'm not going to share why that is, but a lot of other thermal pastes expose them to 150 degrees Celsius for a few minutes, and they will dry up relatively quickly. The AlumaChill can probably withstand up to 300 Celsius for short amounts of time and still be totally fine without any drying up or anything like that. It's a pretty good compound for what you get for the price. So I will drop that in chat in case anyone wants to pick it up. Let's see, or if anyone wants to read more about AlumaChill, as well as our new website. And this is 100% developed in-house again. There's been no outsourcing of any development, production, or packaging. None of that's all done in-house. But if you want to read more, there's AlumaChill. And if you want to read more about Carbon Black, you can read more about Carbon Black right here. And with that being said, our board is in the oven, and we're going to get going on this A2179 here. Check my phone real fast. Oh, I missed a message. Made in USA. Absolutely. It's made in this building. In not that room, but the one after that room. What we wanted with the AlumaChill, we also have an AlumaChill Pro in development. I can't speak on when that is going to be released. It may be soon, it may be a long time, I don't really know. But what we were going for with the General Lumichill is we see a lot of stuff, a lot of shops, because we get MacBooks from all over the country, and a lot of times shops attempt repairs. And what we see is a lot of really, really lousy thermal paste being used on these devices. Now, when you look at what widely available thermal pastes cost, I mean, you get $10 for a 3.5 gram tube. Well, that's $10 for a 3.5 gram tube, which really doesn't last all that long. So we wanted to come out with something that is much cheaper than that, coming in only at $1 a gram. That's actually good. And we spent months and months and months and months and close to $15,000 in development of the General Lumichill paste to come up with something that not only we can make and still make a profit off of, but also something that we can sell for a reasonable price that performs very, very well. And that's what we came up with. Right, now the first thing I'm doing on this A2179 is listening for clicking. Now when I say listening for clicking, what I mean is listening for clicking near the CPU, which means our CPU is dead. I don't hear that here. So next thing in the diagnostic process is going to be, I am going to unplug everything. Actually, we could just go ahead and take the board out. Makes more sense. If anyone wants any comparison of what the consistency of the Lumichill is like, it is nearly identical to what the stock thermal compound on AMD coolers is like. It's that same consistency, and actually, let me see. Here's actually a heatsink with Lumichill applied to it and has a fingerprint in it, but it's that same type of consistency, and this can actually, you could actually apply this just like this, or you could apply paste on a heatsink like this if you just line it with Kapton tape to make a square and then use a putty knife and spread it over it. But that's with the Lumichill, what the consistency looks like for anyone that is curious. It's very thick, it's not runny at all. It looks good. 15K R&D benefits for life. I wish about that benefits for life part. I'm going to stop talking about thermal compound before people start leaving, because I know a lot of viewers do not really want to hear about it. They want to see MacBook repair, not thermal compound talk. Wish every board was as easy, or I wish every device was as easy to take apart as this one. These are so easy to take apart. Alright, let's see what's wrong with you. So, it's not in DFU. I already checked that before, because who wants to see me clicking a few buttons? This does not have a hex nut. John, I think I have 2 fixed A2141s today. One had a shorted cap in the 1v8 SSD circuit. What luck was that? Okay, so based on the amperage, I suspect this has a short. Let's see if we could find it by just looking at it. The way it cycles is quite weird. So I'm kind of expecting something PMIC related maybe. But let's see. Looking for a little discolored cap somewhere. And I don't really see that anywhere. Looks pretty clean. Alright, so let's see out of the enclosure what it does. Paul Daniels is here. Paul says, I thought this was fake for a second. Alright, so we are getting, let's see if we get that same behavior. 5, 24, 26, 25, yep. Okay, so I want to do thermal imaging because I find when you get issues like this, thermal imaging is really, really invaluable. So let's go ahead and have a look under thermal and see if we see anything. OBS might crash when I plug this in. So let's see. There we go. Okay, we have our thermal up. Excellent. Let's see if we see anything unusual. So PMIC. Oh, now we're at 20 volts. Lovely. Imagine that. Now we're booting. Would you imagine that? We're booting now. I love how the second I get out the device that's supposed to help me find the problem, it decides to start working again. Normally. Lovely. Okay. Maybe there's something in the enclosure. Let's plug everything back in and let's see what it does. Very odd when devices act like this. It really doesn't make my job fun. So the most common culprits for causing that would be trackpad, screen, anything like that. So let's see what we get when we're back in the enclosure. And if it boots up, we really got to look for a problem somewhere. 20 volts. It's probably going to get me an Apple logo too. Let's see. Yep. Alright, we got to see what's going on. Let's plug everything back in. My guess is there's something that is trolling us. And normally, yeah, like Paul said, chassis issues. Or we had a shorted capacitor somewhere. And that capacitor just so happened to not be shorted anymore, which happens sometimes. And it's really, really freaking annoying. Sometimes batteries can do it too. Any corrosion? Nope. Little something there, but it's nothing that I really would think is a problem. Alright, with everything back in, let's see what it does. 5 volts. Alright, it's doing the same thing. Now it's failing again. So what could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Let's unplug things one by one. First things first, let's unplug the battery. That's no fun if it's the battery, because I don't get to bill for board repair. It's probably the battery. Paul, these benches are a disaster right now. So this is messy. This is bad. This is bad to me. Okay? Yeah. I guess I am sick because yeah, this to me, I was just thinking today, this bench is a mess. And it's dirty, and there's like heat sinks, and there's a tower on the floor. There's a bunch of crap on top of that shelf that my employee left here. There's MacBooks over there. There's thermal compound everywhere. This is a mess. I don't know how you people work in such a disgusting environment. Anyway, same symptoms with the battery unplugged. Audio board can definitely do it. Or the audio board cable. Alright, audio board it is. So, let's see what's lurking on our audio board that's causing this. These audio boards are fun sometimes. Is it going to be torched? It is not torched. Imagine that. What the heck? Okay. Very, very, very odd. Literally nothing. No signs of damage. So we're going to pull this out. We're going to find the problem on the audio board, and we're going to fix it, because these little things are expensive and hard to get. Paul, if you could send me or not send me a message on Facebook, that would be great. Oh yeah, I see some nonsense here, I think. Let's see what we have. I haven't needed a schematic to fix one of these yet, luckily. That underfill looks very bubbly, and it looks like stuff is in it. I don't know if that's because it got hot or what the deal is. Everything looks okay. Let's plug in our board. Since it does that weird cycling thing, that makes me think that there is something possibly shorted. Does Apple have audio board? I don't know, but I don't care either, because we're going to fix this audio board and save it for the landfill. And Briz, I don't know if you got my message, but I messaged you about that machine you messaged me about. So check your messages, and you will have your answer to what is wrong. Well, hopefully. You'll have a clue to what's wrong. But basically, trackpad issues or trackpad sensor issues. Your fans will immediately start at full blast, and the machine will be unusably slow. And AST2 can confirm that by the palm rest sensors that is in the trackpad. Okay, I'm just plugging this in. It's kind of tricky with it outside of the board, outside of the enclosure. Okay. I do feel a little heat, but let's see. Let's see. I hope something gets hot here. Look at that, it has a heartbeat. Isn't that cool? Its heart is beating. That's so cool, it has a heartbeat. Look at that heartbeat. Look at that cool little heartbeat. I knew that underfill looked unusually bubbly. Anyway, that's our problem. Let's go ahead and deal with this. How hard is this underfill going to be to take off? That's the question. This is our little audio codec. Board number is going to be 820 something. I don't know. Shouldn't you be able to figure it out from 820? 820-01992-01. Not the 01 matters. Okay. I just bent my tweezers. It's no fun. Choose pre-bent tweezers. Let me see what heat does on this. Oh, it's easy. No! The little capacitor came off. It's not what I wanted. It's okay. We'll set him right over here and put that back on in a minute. Does this have low melt? Because I feel like that capacitor should not have came off at 213 degrees. And I do see a solder ball here too. Is my station seriously off calibration? Because this should not have happened at 213 degrees. You know what might do this wonders is acetone. Wonder if acetone would just eat this material up. Let's see. Where's my syringe for acetone? See, look, Paul, this is such a mess here, I can't even find it. There it is. I really like acetone for many things. Let's see if it'll eat this epoxy up. You would definitely want to be careful with it, depending on what you're doing. But sometimes it's just a godsend for adhesives and stuff like this. In this case, I don't think it did any good. Yeah, it's not doing us any good. So what I'm gonna do where is the dot? Let's see. Okay, the writing is this way. CS42L. Chat, you want to do me a favor? Does anyone anyone in chat want to do a favor for me? Find me a CS42L83A on another board. If it even exists. Okay. So sometimes, not all chips you can do this with, but some chips you can put a little solder blob on. This is just bare silicon, so I doubt we'll be able to get away with it but some of them you're able to do this. You know what? Let's experiment with something. So, and just before we get started, this is exactly what I said it is. It's an experiment. We need to transfer heat from our iron tip to that chip to be able to take it off. Now, in order to do that, our iron isn't going to do it alone because it doesn't, without solder, there's no real way for it to bridge heat there. So, I am going to try something very interesting that's probably not going to work. But, let's try something. So, first things first is we need to clean our iron tip very well. Same chip on 1706. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, John. Alright, so before using my hot air, we're going to try this. Now, don't necessarily do this, because I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see. I'm going to use a tiny bit of thermal compound on top of this chip. Like, I mean a really, really small amount, like that, right? In order to transfer heat from my iron tip to this chip. Instead of solder. And when I see solder blobs, if I do see solder blobs, should be able to tell when solder melts on it. Nope, it's taking too long. Okay. We'll use our hot air. It was worth a shot. I just wanted to try it and see if it would work. Didn't work, so it is what it is. So now I just have to suffer and remove all this underfill. Pretty sure we could use 100 Celsius on this. Let's just see. Just to soften it. You know what? Let me see if I have a little mount for this. A little board mount would be really helpful. This iPhone one right here. Let's see if we can get this to work in here. Pretty sure we will. Yeah, it's the best it's gonna get, like this. I guess that's better than nothing. Better than just being on the bench. So we're at a pretty low temp. We're at around 116 Celsius. I just want to soften the adhesive around this. So we're not hot enough to... No, this is cancer. This mount is cancer. What about this one? Trying to make something work that it was never intended to do. It's quite hard. Okay. Well, that was an idea that did not work. Maybe one of these little reballing jigs would work. Will fit in here. I just want something to keep it from moving now. Alright, we're just gonna have to suffer through it. That's okay. We will suffer. Not a problem. I agree, Paul. I don't have one right now. Right now. Okay, I don't want to float anything, and I think I just did. But look how easy and nice it comes off at 265. Comes right off. Versus... yeah, everything is floated around here now. Not everything could still take it off, but you get my point. It's a pain. It's tedious and a pain. It's not going to stop me, though. We're going to get all of this. I almost feel like they used like 138 or something on this because this solder should not melt as quick as it does here. It's really quite odd. I'm just going to take my time and remove all the overfill around here. I really wonder why they overfilled this in the first place. Stuff is such a pain. I will be putting some conformal coat around this after, just to hide all the scratches, in case someone else sees it and is like, what? Did a monkey work on this? Flush the little acetone. Just to clean it up a bit. Alright, which was, I think we have a falling off component right here. Kind of hoping the iron would just burn through. I think it still will. Good news is I'm pretty sure I can just load this up on Flux and get going now, because I'm pretty sure we're good. Just going to touch up the little components that got floated. And then we're good to go. We're going to take our chip off. Okay, well I guess good that this guy came off. So now I can touch up the pads properly. Nothing would get soldered to these pads anyway. Let's clean the flux up. I'm going to use the NC559 V3. This was the V2 I was using. I'm going to use the V3. The V3 doesn't turn black like that. As easy anyway. Is Paul still here? Paul, have you used the NC559 V3 yet? Doesn't smell like pine, but it smells like vanilla. Yeah, V3. Here you go. Look. Make everyone jealous. It's good. I'm gonna switch to my smallest. I've got the dish soap burning one and the almost pleasant one. Yeah, I got both too. The V3 smells nothing like that. I really am not sure about the legitimacy of the company producing them. The Flux is good. I mean, I have no complaints about the quality of the product. But I don't know if there's anything sketchy with trademarks going on. There may very well be. Down here, there we go. Looks like we might have pulled a couple pads. Hopefully they're NC. They're either NC or they were burnt. Oh no, that was burnt. In that, look at that. No, never mind, I take that back. There's definitely one burnt pad there, but these other two, maybe NC. We'll check the little board view we got here. Pretty sure they were NC. But we shall see. They're NC, thank you. And while it's still hot, I'm going to try and get as much of this overfill off between components and anywhere that might potentially cause me issues. But I think we did pretty good. I don't think we're going to have any issues with floated components. Alright, let me get that little resistor back. Then we're pretty much ready to drop our new chip in. That one little capacitor that came off, I'm not going to worry about that. It's not going to hurt anything being gone. It's our little resistor. There we go. All right, now, careful and knock this little thing off. There we go. Now we could solder him back in place. A happy board. Yes, it's upside down, and no, I don't care that it's upside down. Those kind of things don't matter in life. Could almost kind of just rework right through this coating. Might not be the best thing to do, but seems to look good. Alright, so now let's find our chip. Now John said it's on a 1706. We trust John here very much so, because he's a very smart board repair technician. Smarter than me, honestly. So let's find it, and yep, it's right here. I'm gonna yank this off. Find a stencil. Stencil, stencil, stencil. This one looks pretty. Does this one have what we need? No fair. No fair at all. I was hoping the first stencil I pull out would have the chip that we need. This one probably does. This one's cool. Is it you? It's not you. It's not you. Nah, you work. Make some dry paste. There we have some dry paste. Let's get a little on our X-Acto knife. Like that. And why is the scope camera so lousy right now? I don't know, but I don't like it. 265 and really low airflow. We're gonna heat. There's really no need to use anything above 265 for reballing. It's less stress on the chip, it's less stress on the stencil, it's easier. It's 265. And I like to use the lowest airflow I can get away with, which is usually below 10, that's for sure. Sometimes I even use 1. Look at that, beautifully done. Easy, quick, beautiful. Let's clean this up. Good to go. Now I'm just going to get a very small amount of flux. One day I'll get good at reballing. I usually suck, John, so don't feel bad. Some flux. And we'll get our new chip. It's a line, I'm going to turn it so I blow air the other direction. I'm going to switch back to my small nozzle. Use my bend tip 6.4, I think. 265. We'll see. What? No, no password. I'm gonna do lowest I can. Lowest I can get away with. gonna go up. Done. Signs of ears or balls? Nope, nope, nope. All looks beautiful. Think we are good. Little ear here, but I think we're good. Let me take this coating off while the board is still hot. Just want to make sure we're all good. And I don't think we're going to have any issues here because this isn't a BGA chip or anything. That's still connected. That's fine. All right, let's dip this in the ultrasonic real quick. Just to clean that flux off. Then I'm going to dry it, and then we're going to put a little coat of urethane conformal coating on it, just like it was originally, and then we're done with that one. Another one done, down, good to go. So I did put that missing resistor back. Clean up our work area a little bit. Set our main logic board over there. Syringe cap for my sharp acetone needle. Back, thermal compound, back. Flux back. Tweezers, back. So, I guess I should share some of my plans with you guys. By next March, I hope to be out of this location that I currently am in, and I do want to move to a nicer area. So, there are some personal reasons why I want to move, and secondly, business. The local clientele within the Antelope Valley and the Palmdale area is really not good, and they don't really like paying anything above $150, so that makes it hard. In addition to a low volume of business, the crime rate locally has skyrocketed from all kinds of things. It just seems like almost every day now I hear about a shooting within like 5 to 10 walking distance of the store. And I really don't want to be here any longer than I have to. Because the area is getting worse. It's getting more dangerous. And again, the local clientele is really hard to deal with, and they don't really like paying the rates in which I need to charge to stay in business. So that makes it harder when, a lot of the local business ends up walking without paying, or you'll either get one or two things. They'll either won't leave it, or they will abandon it, both of which don't help me. So I'm considering a few different areas, but most likely contender will be the Murrieta, California / Temecula, California area. That seems like a really nice area. I like it around there, and that would be nice. Much lower crime area. I can get a really nice store 2 miles from the Apple store for about what I'm paying here. And it'll be much nicer, much happier area. So I'm just going to dry this. We are not at a hot enough temperature to melt solder. Before I coat it. Take this sticker off. There we go. Alright, now a little bit of this urethane conformal. We clean this off of our tweezers as soon as we are done. You'll notice this stuff is pretty much the original that was on here, but I don't know if I've ever told this story on my channel when I was actually chased after leaving the shop before. That was an interesting experience. Luckily, I have a quick enough vehicle that I could easily outrun people that try and chase me. But still, I'd rather not be chased. That's my whole point. You know, being chased when you're trying to leave at 1 in the morning is not very fun. You know, and you just want to leave, and then someone pulls up behind you and is tailgating you, and you do a U-turn, and they do a U-turn too, and catch up with you. You speed up to 90, and they try and catch up with you, tailgate you. Just bizarre stuff like that. It's no fun. I don't want to deal with that. Okay, so that little audio board is in the oven. It's baking. And we are on to our next case. So let's go grab a new MacBook. This I'm just going to put up here for now. Okay. Water damage, no power, A2179. Okay, what do you do? Hopefully, not a CPU failure. $20 volts, 0.42. That's suspicious. Trackpad click. And it is clicking. Hear that clicking? That tells me that I do not have to do anything with this because it is dead no matter what. So we will ask the customer if they need data. If they don't, idiot man grows old and dies, says Anel. Yes, Anel is getting very old. I totally agree with you. You are getting old and you look and sound old. I don't like boards that get to 20 volts either. Yep, corrosion on CPU MOSFETs. And it's going to be... You'll hear it. Hear it clicking away. Let's see, plug it in. Hear that? Wait a second, this sounds like it's something else. No. Okay. This one's dead. There's no more. We will check with the customer. If they don't want data, this one gets binned. So, with that being said, let's go grab our next one, which is going to be a warranty A1708. The police are going to walk in, see the trays of syringes and several heat guns and think you're making meth. Oh, you should see the thermal paste lab. That looks like a meth lab. There's vacuum chambers, all kinds of lab equipment, beakers, all kinds of crazy stuff. That looks like an actual meth lab. Okay, next one. Let's see what we have here. Do I want to do an No, I want to do a dedicated video on that one. We have a 2021. Let's work on this. Poor warranty MacBook. It's had 2 dead diodes on it. The USB-C circuit. Replaced them. It passed the typical stress testing. And the customer gets it back and says it didn't work out of the box. And I have a suspicion that it doesn't work out of the box because their charger was bad originally, in which I told them that. But I have a feeling they plugged it back in, which caused it to die. Again. But let's see. Let's see what we get. Hopefully the CPU didn't die or something like that, which I've seen happen. Okay. So it does turn on. I just saw the screen flash. It's pulling over an amp. And the backlight flashed on for a second. So the original repair is fine. The screen flashes for a second, then it shuts right off. That is very weird. That is very, very weird. Yep, same here, John. I know it. It's really, really frustrating when that happens. So the fact that the backlight flashes for a second is very concerning. Very, very concerning. So that makes me think that it tries to turn on, but it loses. The GPU has issues once it displays an image on the screen. Where's my suction cup? I swear, I just had a suction cup here. We don't need a suction cup. It's not FlexGate because the trackpad stops clicking immediately. I do need a suction cup. It's not a bad OS, NL. You're dumb. A bad OS does not cause the trackpad to not click for it to lose actuator power. What causes it to lose actuator power is when it's brain dead. Okay, so okay, I remember this device. This has an interesting history. Okay, this was worked on prior, and then it was sent here after being worked on by another shop that said it had a bad charge port, and it does not have a bad charge port. So first things first, I want to unplug the battery and then see what it does. Let me just check the flex cable. There's no signs of fatigue. It is not FlexGate. Let's plug it in. Alright, 5 volts, 20 volts, 0.45, 0.59, 0.57, 0.63, 0.85, 0.57, 0.68, 0.61, 63, 67. Huh. The battery is bad, and that does not surprise me, given the fact that it looks the way it does from another repair shop totally destroying it and then putting it back in the enclosure. So this has a bad battery. Okay. I'll warranty that, even though it's not my fault. Make a note. Worked on prior now by another shop who took the battery out, made the battery look like this. I'm going to show you guys in a second. See if it might be the data cable. I doubt it's the data cable. I'm just going to replace it given the fact it looks like this. I mean, this is destroyed, basically. Yeah. And just shut off too. But anyway, this is what the battery looks like. See, it's all wavy. It got destroyed by someone that didn't know what they were doing, which is all too common now. Now, another remote possibility is that the battery is fine, and what's going on is because the battery's unplugged, the CPU and GPU are downclocked. They're throttled. With the battery plugged in, they're not. So it's possible that the GPU or CPU is still bad and is just able to operate at a lower clock speed, but not at a higher clock speed. That's also possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible. Alright, boot up fully. Come on. I punctured an iPad Air 4 battery and it frizzed but didn't explode. Oh, batteries are not that scary. Okay. So, it works. It boots up normally. Now, it's a little trick. I'm going to plug in just the battery data connection. You know what? Let's plug in the power connection first. And let's see what it does with just power. Power, and then chime. Let's plug in the data cable. It's staying on. That's interesting. And L is going to get himself blocked. That's for sure. Alright, still doesn't detect the battery. Yeah, not a surprise. But it stays on. Imagine that. It's a flaky battery. Case closed. We will warranty that even though it wasn't our fault. We still billed for board repair. And it's not this customer's fault that they got screwed over by another repair shop. So we're going to cover $50 battery. It's not a big deal. let me send them an email real fast. And then we have the least favorite part of the evening, which is reassembly. I want to see if this 2141 I fixed earlier works. And then we're pretty much done. And then I just have to do battery replacements, 1708s, keyboard replacements before I go home. So let me... Isn't it fun to have me backslash now? Not really. It's more peaceful before. Okay, I need to... Let me find this. Fast. Here we go. Did you do a keyboard today? I have not. We're going to reassemble an A2141 right now. So I hope this turns out, I hope this does not kernel panic. This one was a little bit of a pain. So, typical SSD area. Turns on, kernel panics on boot and shuts off. GPU MOSFETs were corroded, so probably GPU MOSFET issue. Hopefully the GPU is not dead. That would be the worst case, obviously. Fresh thermal compound. Yeah, I just do top cases on the new one. It's too much of a pain for me. Yeah, I don't have time for that. I'm going to put a little carbon black on these RAM chips because the little thermal adhesive almost never holds up. So a little carbon black will do these wonders, just a little bit. Just something to kind of give it a little something to hold it down on the VRAM chips. That's good to go. Carbon black is really great for stuff like that. Alright, let me grab the enclosure. This enclosure, if I recall, may have some keyboard issues. Let's see. No, this is actually pretty darn clean. This guy got lucky. Most 2141 users don't get lucky. Heatsink back on. This is by far my least favorite machine to assemble. This machine is terrible to assemble. I do not like assembling this machine. These are terrible. Please do not buy a 16-inch 2019 MacBook Pro used or new if Apple still sells them. This is not a good machine. It is very problematic. There's a good chance that your data will not exist after a couple years after being on this machine. Don't buy it. Save your money. Buy something else. Buy either a 16-inch M1 or a Lenovo something or other. Or an HP something or other. Probably not a Dell. But anything other than this machine, please. please take my advice. I'm not trying to make money from saying this. Don't buy this machine. Alright, everything is down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy got lucky, but here's my concern. The fact that it kernel panics could mean that the a little corrosion right here on our Touch ID. The fact that a kernel panics could either mean that the voltage to the GPU is unstable, or it could mean that the GPU is now dead from a voltage spike, given the fact that those were corroded. And in that case, we're done. It's a goner. It's trash. We could probably get data from it, but other than that, it is trash. So we're going to hope that it just had unstable voltage and it's good to go. I do want to pull the board out again and inspect the USB. I guess I should have done that before, but oh well. Come on, touch bar connector plug-in. There we go. There we go. Okay, we should boot up now. Let's see. Let's see what this does. If it high fans, then data only, and we're done. Trackpad click. It would chime before. It would give me an Apple logo. It would shut down right after the Apple logo appeared. I didn't plug in the screen. I didn't plug in the screen. And it shuts down because that high fan speed. So that tells me that our GPU was damaged when liquid got on it. But let's see if I can still get it into target. Alright, so it's actually giving me no image right now at all. But it is staying running. Could mean because it's just hanging before post. But the fans are high. Nope, there we go. Okay. So that's interesting. It's very hot over here. Of course it's our NANDs. The NANDs should never be that hot as they are right now. Something is, maybe it's not a NAND. It's time to thermal it. Something is very hot in this corner of the board. High fans shut down. That's just what these do when they shut down. They go high fans, then they shut down. I don't know why. I can't explain why, but that's what they do. Both those NANDs are hot. Now, you may be saying, no, they're cold. No, they're actually hot. So you said Touch ID was corroded. It was a little bit, but it wouldn't do this. In fact, the NANDs are hot. It says something. So I want you to look at this. I do see some pulsing from our SSD PMIC. But see our NANDs, see how they look like they're blue? Well, it's because of the emissivity of them. One thing we could do is put a little something like a little thermal paste on top of them, and you'll see that they'll look normal because you'll see the heat being wicked into the thermal paste. So, kind of want to demonstrate that. A little bit of carbon black here. And watch this. It's pretty cool to visualize this. See that? See how hot that is? Anyway. Let's go ahead and refer this for data. Not refer, but tell the customer data only. So let's go ahead. I want to plug in the screen. I do want to try and get it into target disk mode just to see. The screen popped out, so that's why we didn't see it. Yeah, when they do this, it's usually not good. Do a PRAM reset. Screen popped out again. That's no good. That won't assist us in looking to see if we have anything on our screen if it keeps popping out. Okay. So I'm going to keep my finger on it to make sure that doesn't happen. I really want to see what's going on the screen. Nothing, so I'm guessing our GPU probably died permanently. Nope, Apple logo. Okay. It does get into target disk. Just leave it running in target disk. So I will take this as a success if we can get this booted into here. The fans are probably high because the battery's unplugged. Go ahead and email client right now. What number is this? So before the NAND regulator was corroded and probably would have killed the SSD, we replaced that. It's stable in target disk mode. It seems to be running. Get the password, get the data, done deal. We're done. That's all we care about for this one is data, sealed deal. All right, so this one's done. Emailed the client. We're good. That's about it. I think I can go home. Hang on a second here. Let's reassemble this one real fast. So here is our finished audio board. John, I would not trust anything Anel says about Duke. I don't know what happened to Duke. Anel does not know what happened to Duke, so yeah, I really would not listen to what Anel said. Or at least take whatever Anel said with a grain of salt. So there's our completed repair. It looks pretty factory. Everything else is good on this? Good. Closure. Anel, Drive Savers is hiring, by the way, if you need a job soon. I thought he went into hiding. He got sick of people. I wish I could go into hiding, I swear. If I could go into hiding, I totally would. Who wouldn't go into hiding these days? I would go into hiding and let like 2 people know where I am. That would be really nice. No customers, no problems. Peaceful. Anel's business name is Rossman Repair Group. He works for Rossman Repair Group. Duke doesn't have a business to my knowledge, or his business name. I don't know what his business name is, if he even had a business. I think he's just, people just came to him basically. I hope that wasn't a customer's drive that you got fingerprints on the platter or no. That would be really bad. Drive Savers would love you because you fit right in with their type of quality of work that they perform. I've seen your quality of work now, and I think you would be right at home at Drive Savers. Half the time we get a machine from them that they charge someone a lot of money for, they don't even do anything. Sometimes they do something, and it's usually when they outsource to a contractor. But half the time it's just they just charge their attempt fee, and there's not even an attempt there. So it kind of is irritating when I see that. Almost done assembling this, and hopefully it turns on and all is good. I think it'll be just fine. Couple more screws, and we're done. It's very funny that you make that comment right now, Anel. I'm not sure what you mean by that. John, if you can get hired at somewhere that pays what you deserve, and when I mean what you deserve, like I mean a good $40 an hour, if not more, then take it. Because I've honestly kind of regretted starting my own business lately, and have kind of been thinking of what other options I have, just because the stress that customers bring along. It is not fun. It is stressful. There are days you will leave defeated, and some days it's just not worth it. So with your skills, and by the way, John, if you ever need a recommendation from me or anything, do not hesitate to give them my info. Just message me. But if you can get a job making decent money or good money, what you deserve somewhere, then I would probably do that over starting your own business. Because there's a lot of times when just dealing with customers in general is just not worth the stress of a business. Alright, so we plug this in, we have 20 volts. Make sure we get a chime from the speaker. Come on. This might have Catalina. In that case, it won't chime. If it has Catalina, it won't chime. No, I did not pay you $18 an hour. I paid you way more than that. And one, you scammed me on how much I owed you and made me pay you more when I did not owe you that. So no. Screw you. Got out of doing refurb computers. Customers expect too much. I'm not Best Buy or HP. Yeah, I understand that. This is booting into some recovery mode. I do too, Paul. It's very frustrating. Anel is a bully, absolutely. I totally agree with that statement. 100%. That comment should be pinned. Anel got what he... so I'm not going to disclose too many details of this on this channel, But for all of the nonsense that Anel has caused me, he got payback. He got payback. Anel got some pretty good payback and didn't talk to me for a while. And that was well-deserved payback. Okay, we're going to do a PRM reset. I'm not waiting for this to boot. It's old news, go ahead, says Anel. I don't know if I should say that on my channel. If he shared what you did to me, you all would unsubscribe from him. Oh, okay, so I'll share it. Let's see how many subscribers I lost. Well, when Anel worked for me, he decided it was a great idea to go on a Tinder date when he was visiting for a week here. And long story short, we called him, pretending to be a law firm, informing him of his twin sons. And Anel believed that, and Anel had a rough few days. And it was absolutely great and worth it for all the nonsense that he's caused on this channel. Alright, so I'm not sure why this is not booting up. But let's see. Let's give it a minute. Hate getting comments on YouTube videos where it's clear the person hasn't actually watched the video. I agree. Okay, why are you stuck on the Apple logo? Let's run diagnostics. Let's see if we can at least get into diagnostics. These things do some weird stuff on startups sometimes, and this is probably a Core i3, which makes it 10 times worse. See if it'll get into diagnostics successfully. Yep. This machine, not even the A1932, the A2179 is probably the worst MacBook Air Apple has made. It's just so especially the i3. The i3 is just awful to put in a laptop. Like, okay, you're spending $1,000 on a laptop. Why does it have an Intel Core i3? Come on. Like, okay, i5 base, I get it, i5, but i3, really? That's bad. And it's slow. The i3 is terribly slow, and this isn't throttling. This is how slow it is when it's doing tests. Look at the cursor darting across the screen. Look at that. That's how slow these are. They're terrible. So we're just going to wait for it to boot into diagnostics and see what it says. Yeah, let's look at what the specs are in this thing. I don't like how the fans are ramping like that. Maybe it might have a sensor issue. Because it's, yeah, probably should have gotten past that screen by now. Into 1.1 gigahertz dual-core Intel Core i3. Configure up to 1.1 gigahertz quad-core Intel Core i5. That's awful. Okay, I agree, Moles, on the i3, the Alder Lake i3. Those are good. I built a machine right back there that's on the floor with that CPU. That's a good CPU. But the i3, whatever the heck this has, i3. What is this thing? Hang on. I gotta find the actual model of this. SRG M9. Is that it? I don't know. Okay, but what I can assure you is this is no 12100 or whatever it is. This is a very painful, slow, lousy machine CPU. And it's still taking, it should not take this long, even for an i3. Let me look at the schematic for this board, that little audio board. Maybe we messed up a sensor. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Okay. Let's unplug. Yeah, no, it's thermal throttling. Wait, is the battery not plugged in? Aha, this is why. The battery is plugged in, but something isn't 100% right, because with the battery unplugged, this is how it'll behave. So something, I'm going to reseat the battery. Something might not be right. That's so common. I'll get all kinds of people that'll post questions and say, "Oh, it's high fans." Well, the most common cause of high fans in a 2179 is the battery being unplugged, and it will hang at the Apple logo like that too. But I don't know why that would be on this. It was plugged in. It was seated properly. Maybe it just wasn't seated good. I want to see charging current, and it's not at charging current yet. But we do have a progress bar. There we go. It's pulling almost 100. Or yep, 1 point. There we go. Okay, the battery needed to be reseated. No, now it's back, like it's not charging again. And now the fan is going high. Does this have a bad battery as well? It sure seems like it. It just doesn't seem right. So, let's have a look at this battery connector under the scope. Something doesn't seem right here. I'm not sure what. So, it detects it initially, then it stops detecting it. Everything looks okay here. That's not corrosion or anything. That's just flux. Thinking I might have pinched or pulled one of these guys out, or there's a piece of debris in the connector, because this doesn't add up why. Let's give a little tug on each of these wires, see if there's any loose ones. Looks all okay. I mean, they're not. There's aluminum powder all over my hands from making thermal paste. That really is hard to get out and really annoying. Is there anything in the connector on the board? No, that looks good. I'm try and push all these in a little bit, all the wires in with it plugged in. That's quite weird. Okay. Wrong view. Back to, there we go. Check chat. And now that you are wrong about, as far as the fan, it does pull some air into the enclosure. But with the bottom cover, this CPU should not go high fan speed when the bottom cover's off, unless it's on under load, and it's booting up, it's not under load. There goes the fan again. If I unplug it right off. Let's try it again. This has a bad battery. Okay. Very interesting. Almost wonder if the battery is just discharged from the little short it had. But it shouldn't do that. Very weird. Alright, so now it's pulling an amp. over an amp. Yeah, and then it just kind of goes down. I feel like it's on right now. It shouldn't be on with the bottom closed. It's almost like the battery gets tripped, which is really odd. Like it's like there's too much current and it trips it and it stops being detected. Oh, okay. So, new battery. That's fine. Let me get that ordered right now. You know what? I think I'd have one of these batteries. I don't stock a lot of batteries because we don't really get too many requests for them. So it doesn't really make sense to have in stock. What's a reasonable price on a battery for an A2179? I just paid 60 for one. Probably 45 to 60, I would say, is good. I would not pay over 70 most likely, but yeah, I don't have one. But yeah, probably 45 to 60. But you have to take in consideration that pretty much any battery from any supplier, from Tech Restore, from Injured Gadgets, from Mobile Centrics, from any supplier out there, every single battery from anywhere right now has a very high defect rate, and they're all lousy. The ones that we found to be the best so far are this brand called EgoWay on Amazon. They seem to have better quality, and their battery management boards seem to be a little bit higher quality than the rest. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt, but they have been so far the best. Alright, so this needs a new battery. And that's it. I mean, I think we're done here for the stream tonight. I really wish, you know what, let's take this battery board out. I really wish this battery would have been okay, because it sucks. It's just how it happened. But again, I mean, the battery was working when it came in, but it just died. I don't know why that would be, but sometimes stuff like that happens. It's not corroded or anything, so I really don't know why that happened. Is what it is. Battery's coming in. We'll get it replaced. Done deal. You know what? While we're here, not that anyone wants to see this. The A1466, or the DCM board is made by Apple. There's no aftermarket DCM boards out there. Well, there might be some, but not the DCM board on an A1466. And the strip just broke. Okay. Batteries, however, are easy to replicate, and there's a lot of really lousy batteries out there. These pull tabs are terrible. I just broke another one. Yeah, okay, whatever. We'll do this later. Sometimes these are just terrible and they come right off. Whatever it is. Is what it is. They're usually not that bad, and this time they just fell right apart. Okay, this battery will be here tomorrow or Friday, probably Friday, later tomorrow maybe, if Amazon ships it in time. But that's this one. I think it's time for me to call it a night. I think we had a pretty good, well, I guess not really, but it was entertaining, hopefully. Fixed the main problem with this, found another problem. Learned I have to do data recovery on a 2170 or 2141. And also learned that it wouldn't be fully functional, but other than that, I think we're good to go. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next stream. I am going to get going. I'm getting tired. It's time for me to go home, so I will see you in the next stream.